Maxx Crosby rumors continue to swirl around the defensive end in Las Vegas. It has been clear since basically last trade deadline that the Crosby-Raiders relationship isn't as rock solid as it had previously been. And now you are starting to see more and more people. ESPN Today, they put out a bunch of potential trade for Maxx Crosby. Albert Breer said that he thought the Patriots and Seahawks could potentially trade for Maxx Crosby. So you're seeing more and more rumors swirl around Crosby that he will not be in Las Vegas. And so the more and more that I look at Crosby, the more and more that I realize not only can the Seattle Seahawks trade for him, but I think that they can actually offer the best package. We're going to dive into that before I let you know about this sweet package over at chatsports.com/cgreen. Go get our St. Patty's Day merch. We got a ton of great stuff on there right now. Look at this t-shirt. You can join the Seattle drinking team in the green so you don't get pinched on St. Patty's Day, or you can go with more of the blue. The thing is freaking sweet, and they are super affordable. Only $29.99. Easy to grab that t-shirt. The best part is the link, it's going to be in the comment section and description of today's video. You just got to go click that link. It'll take you right where you need to be. And you can join Seattle's very own drinking team. You can join Sean J, Jerry B, and Bill H. The next person could be you. All you got to do is go in, like I said, click that link in the comment section and description of today's video, and you can go grab a very sweet Seattle drinking team t-shirt for yourself. Now, let's get into the video. It's time to go all in if you're the Seattle Seahawks. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we've already seen the Seahawks make a bunch of really good moves in the coaching staff. I love what Brian Fleury was saying at his press conference earlier. I love that Thomas Hammock has come from college and he's going to now be a coach with the Seattle Seahawks, coach in that running back room. I love that Justin Otten has been upgraded. I love that John Benton has stayed. I love that Jake Peetz has stayed in Seattle. I love everything that the Seahawks are doing around the coaching staff. Now go all in with the players because you just won a Super Bowl and you have the opportunity to be the next great dynasty. The Seattle Seahawks have the opportunity to be the team of the decade, the team of the 2020s. And I think the best way that they do that is by going out and grabbing Maxx Crosby. When you look at the reasons why the Seahawks should do this, it's because, well, one of them, they have plenty of cap space. It can be difficult sometimes for certain teams to go after a player because, well, frankly, they cannot afford that player. Well, that's not going to be an issue for the Seattle Seahawks. When you look at the available cap space right now in the NFL, the Seahawks are in 6th place in the entire NFL. And depending on some of the different things that they could do, finagling some of that money or potentially moving some money around, they could go up even higher. Right now, with $61 million plus available for next year, I don't see why the Seahawks couldn't go out and make Maxx Crosby happen. Why they wouldn't be able to go and get him and still extend a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba, Devin Witherspoon, and potentially Sam Darnold. When we look at the highest paid edge rushers per year, obviously Maxx Crosby is very high on that list. He freaking should be. The guy's been one of the best edge rushers in the National Football League. And I think that the Seahawks can go in and make this move. In my personal opinion, the Seahawks have the money to do so, while still being able to pay a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba top wide receiver money, which he thinks he deserves, and we'll do a bigger and greater deep dive later on next week about how much he and Devin Witherspoon should be paid, because they both should be paid high. But I'll tell you right now, if the money is allocated right, John Schneider can make this happen. John Schneider can make fetch happen. And how do you make fetch happen? By going out and signing Maxx Crosby. You might have to lose a couple of other players, but I love the depth of this team, and I love Mike Macdonald's ability to go out and train up some of the lesser-known players that John Schneider goes and grabs and makes them into household names. I think that they can do that while grabbing Maxx Crosby. Make sure that you hit the sub button on today's video. I want to get to 85K by tonight. We are closing in rapidly. We are just about what Producer Searle says we are 19 subscribers away. We are closing in. So go in and hit that sub button right now as fast as you possibly can. The next reason why I believe the Seattle Seahawks should go all in on Maxx Crosby is because he's not washed yet. I understand the fear that people have in Seattle, the 12s, of course, around going all in on a big name trade, because the last big name trade that you really remember, I really remember, is the Jamal Adams trade. Seattle gave up a ton of capital to go get Jamal Adams. He was very good for 1 year. Then he got hurt, beat up, and then, well, he was ass. When you look at Seattle giving up a bunch of money, they went in for Jimmy Graham, and guess what? He didn't turn out to be anything. That's not what Maxx Crosby is going to be. This is what Crosby did this last year, and that's with missing multiple games at the end of the year. He was still a 73 tackle guy at that edge position. He was still a guy who would have been over 30 tackles for loss. He still had double-digit sacks. He was still getting to the quarterback constantly, and he even had an interception. When you look at the last 4 seasons, they're identical to each other if he just stays completely healthy, right? When you look at 23 and 22, Crosby stayed entirely healthy those seasons, and that's why they basically look the damn same. When you look at 24 and 25, yeah, he has a little bit of injury issues, and at 25, Maxx Crosby would actually make the argument that he didn't have injury issues, and because we know that he wants to play in all of the games, if he would have played in those final 2 games, I'm telling you right now, his numbers are going to be very similar to 23 and 22. In 24, he's on pace to have the same season as 22 and 23, but he gets hurt, and so he ends up missing a bunch of time. Clearly, the dude can still ball out, and as long as he stays healthy, which I think he can make an argument where he's really only had 1 injury-filled season, and I'd agree with him, he can ball out. And if he stays healthy and he stays on the field, which I think he would do in Seattle, he would continue to expand upon the greatness that he has already shown that he has. And it would also be another way of revitalizing Maxx Crosby, because the way Macdonald rotates his defense, Crosby wouldn't have to be out on the field for every single snap. His snap share would be able to go down ever so slightly, because you know he wouldn't want it to really completely drop off the map, and he'd be able to stay healthier for longer and get the most out of his body. When you look at a guy like Uchenna Nwosu and you look at a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, Nwosu's had injury issues in the past. DeMarcus Lawrence is older. Both of them were able to have some of the best years of their career because they were getting less snaps, keeping Nwosu healthier and keeping DeMarcus Lawrence fresher, but also because they were playing in a system that allowed them to be great. Imagine what Maxx Crosby can do, who's a guy who's still in his prime, while getting a little bit of less snap share, so he's maximizing the snaps that he has, while he's in a system like this. It would be immaculate. I want you to predict it right now down below in our comment section. Who will Maxx Crosby play for in 2026? It could be the Seahawks. It could be the Raiders. It could be whoever you want it to be. Just make sure that you let us know down below in the comment section. Next reason I think the Seahawks should go all in and go and grab Maxx Crosby. He is a culture fit. When I think of Maxx Crosby, I think of a gritty, tough individual who is going to lay his body on the line, not just for his teammates, but for his coaches, and honestly for the fan base. There's a reason why Raider Nation loves Maxx Crosby, because the guy is a freaking dog. He never stops going. He's someone that doesn't have an off switch. He just goes and goes and goes. It's why he makes plays in the run game. It's why he makes plays in the passing game. It's why he makes sacks. It's why he makes interceptions. It's how he does the things that he does. Guess who that sounds like? It sounds like a player who's going to fit into the Mike Macdonald system. Mike Macdonald talks all the time about unquestionable effort, relentless effort. He's a big enthusiasm type of a guy. That's Maxx freaking Crosby. He fits into the culture already, and he isn't even here. So imagine what he could do once he adds into a culture that I believe is already great. And you could see it on the faces of the Seattle Seahawks as they got ready for that Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. They were guys who showed up and were ready to work and wanted to work and loved working. That's Maxx freaking Crosby. The dude's a freaking winner, too. When you look at the potential losses that the Seahawks could suffer, Boye Mafe, because he's a free agent, Uchenna Nwosu, who's been listed by a lot of different outlets, Seahawks Today included, as a potential cut candidate, there is money there and space available for Crosby to plug in. He would instantly be a starter, and as good as Nwosu was, as good as Boye Mafe was, you can't tell me he's not an instant upgrade just because he flat out would be. And he would fit this culture just like they did. just like they did. The last thing is the trade cost when it comes to Maxx Crosby. I believe that the Seahawks should be willing to pay for him in this trade. I also believe that the trade isn't that crazy. When you really look down at the nitty-gritty for Crosby, it's worth it to give up these picks and the potential players to go and get him. 12th Man Rising, fantastic website. Go check them out if you haven't had an opportunity to after you finish today's video. Had a potential trade possibility that they put out on one of their articles. They said that the Raiders would get the Seahawks' first-round pick this year, first-round pick in 27, and Derek Hall for Maxx Crosby. I think that is a great trade there, in my personal opinion. Because when I look at this, that 32nd pick, there's no way that that player is going to be better than Crosby. It's almost a second-round pick already. And then when you look at the 2027 pick, well, if Crosby comes in, he plays for the Seahawks, and they win another Super Bowl, well then hell, I'd be willing to give up that 32nd pick again because that's where Seattle would be picking. Even if that's not what would happen, let's just say, hey, it's not going to be that move, and let's say the Seahawks have a terrible year and they end up barely making the playoffs. It's still a 20th pick or worse. So who cares? Get rid of the pick and go get Crosby. Would you make this trade? Let me know down below in the comment section, yes or no, because I do find it very interesting. We're going to dive into another trade here as well, because this one comes from our Raiders Report host, Mitchell Renz. And Mitch and I had a conversation about what we thought would potentially be fair, and ironically enough, I came pretty darn close to the trade package that 12th Man Rising came up with, right? So Mitch and I talked about it, and we both knew that the Raiders were going to want 2 firsts, and frankly, I'm okay giving them the 26th and 27th first-round pick because I do believe that Maxx Crosby is better than anyone that the Seahawks could potentially take there. In fact, in my head, I've already said that the 2026 pick is really a second-round pick, so who cares? But I would give up Tyrese Knight. The Raiders need linebackers who are going to be starters. Tyrese Knight is someone who would be kind of that odd man left out in Seattle, especially if the Seahawks go in and trade, especially if the Seahawks bring back Drake Thomas. Tyrese Knight is also more of a Mike linebacker. That's where Ernest Jones plays right now. So it'd be an easy transition for them. Seattle would be moving on from a guy who's a backup, but would instantly go into being a starter with the Raiders. The Raiders would get 2 first-round picks because they're rebuilding. They need as many first-round picks as they could possibly get, and they'd get a starter. I'm at the opinion now where basically you can give them whatever you want. If Maxx Crosby adds into this team, hell, give them 3 first-round picks instead of giving them a player. Cool, you can have the 26, 27, 28. I don't even know if that's legal. In my opinion, though, right now, this is a team in Seattle that's built to win championships right freaking now. They're built to win this title that they won this year and the next 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't need a ton of first-round talent. Already got a bunch of guys who are young on this defense, who are healthy, and who make a bunch of really good plays. So let's go and grab someone who's in the prime of their career right now and use him to help push this team forward, push this defense forward. Imagine the dark side even slightly better next year because of what Maxx Crosby is. So yeah, maybe I'm being a little bit reckless with what I'm willing to trade away right now, but I don't think it's that crazy. Let me know what the Seahawks should do down below in the comment section. Should they trade for Maxx Crosby, yes or no? I put a poll out on my Twitter where I asked the people, should the Seahawks make this trade? And I put Mitchell Renz's trade graphic up. Now, of course, there were some people that said no, some people that said yes. It feels like it's really split right now, according to the 12s. So let me know what your opinion is down below in the comment section, and hopefully we can get a better grasp of where everyone kind of wants this trade to go or to not go. Make sure that you subscribe to Seahawks Today. Thank you to everyone who has come in and joined the channel. Like I said, we're trying to get to 85K. I want to get there as soon as possible. I want to get there as fast as possible. Just hit that sub button. We're going to have you covered with all the news around the Seattle Seahawks that you could possibly want. And, of course, the rumors. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.